Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. My name is Hunter. On this Sunday, August the 23rd, 2025. A powerful cold front will mean business as it moves south from Canada into the United States, bringing much below normal temperatures and noticeably lower humidity. We're also going to see the storm track shifting further south, bringing precipitation to areas that have been drier over the past month, and areas that have been wetter will trend drier as we go deeper here into the month of August and into early September. We're going to be looking at your long-range forecast as well. And before we go, we're also going to be looking at your tropical update. So we have lots to talk about in the video. If you do enjoy it, like the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Share with a friend, family member, and on social media. Subscribe to the channel because we have daily updates on this channel that we do every single day. And also comment any comments and questions you have in the comment section down below this video. Let's get into the forecast here. And over the past 30 days, over the past month, it has been bending above normal with our temperatures across the central and at times the eastern United States. And that does continue here until this cold front drops south out of Canada, and you're seeing a noticeable difference in not only the temperature, but the humidity across the Midwest today. And if not, that will push further south as we go into tomorrow on Sunday, August 24th. You can see the front arriving in North Texas, the lower Mississippi Valley, and the eastern Ohio Valley. And then once we get into early next week, that front will clear the Gulf Coast and the eastern seaboard, and a big, strong 1028 high pressure system, which is a Canadian high pressure system, will be working in, and that will be bringing drier weather and shifting the storm track further to the south. So let's look at our temperature anomalies for just the 2-day period this weekend, today and tomorrow. And you can see in the greens, that's where we are seeing 15, even 20 degrees below zero, below normal temperatures, not below zero, below normal temperatures there across the northern plains into the upper Midwest and parts of southern Canada. And notice these high temperatures this Saturday afternoon will be into the middle and upper 60s up here into Minnesota, into parts of Wisconsin, into the UP of Michigan, the eastern Dakotas, the 70-degree line shifting further south. And here we go tonight. Nice, cool, crisp night there across the upper Midwest. Areas ranging from the mid-40s at the coolest to the mid-50s here at the warmest up there. And obviously we still have some mild air out ahead of that front. Warmest of our air will be out west. We haven't talked about that. Yeah, extreme heat out across the west. Looking here at widespread heat alerts in orange, those are heat advisories. In the magenta, those are extreme heat warnings, and that extends all the way up from California to the Pacific Northwest, into Oregon, and into portions of Washington State and Idaho as well. So they're going to be basking in the heat out there, so to speak, where we're going to be seeing some cooler air across portions of the northern U.S., and that even continues into Sunday. Look at the cooler air pressing south. Unfortunately, though, if you're not a fan of the heat in the Pacific Northwest, well, think again, because it looks pretty hot out there as we go through the weekend. Now, this cooler air does have some staying power through the new week because of a powerful trough, and it will peak on Monday, and that will continue to spin across the Northeast on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. You guys understand, it's going to be around for a long time. And that will push some reinforcing shots of cooler air from Canada further south into the central and eastern 2/3 of the United States between Monday, August 25th and Friday, August 29th, which again will promise some cool starts to the day. In fact, cool enough to where some isolated patchy areas of frost may be possible into northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin there, and western portions of the UP of Michigan, closer to Lake Superior, and any valleys there, low-lying areas will be most prone to that Monday morning and especially Tuesday morning as that trough peaks in intensity, and then we'll start to warm up our overnight lows, but still comfortable into the 40s and 50s once we get into later next week. High temperatures, nothing short of outstanding here once we go into Monday, August 25th, 60s, a lot of 50s even going around. Look at the 70-degree line, folks. I mean, this goes all the way to North Texas, into Arkansas, into the Dixie Alley and southeast. Yes, it'll be hot out west, but I mean, this is a noticeable change, and that continues all the way through the work week next week. So definitely seeing some changes there in big way. Now, also seeing changes on the precipitation front. Canadian high pressure brings sinking air. So lots of sunshine, lots of drier air, lower humidity. And that's going to dry out our pattern there from the upper Midwest into the Ohio Valley and the eastern seaboard largely, and push the storm track further to the south across the desert Southwest, southern plains, areas that quite honestly need some much needed moisture. And over the past 30 days, this is a difference, right? The upper Midwest has seen a lot of above normal rains, and the southern plains, desert Southwestern areas, lower Mississippi Valley have been trending drier. So this is a great look where we're going to see some moisture. Unfortunately, some of these storms could be strong over the next couple of days here across eastern Colorado today for some isolated severe weather, mainly looking at a threat for winds and hail. The tornado threat is low, and that even extends into tomorrow. Again, it's mainly for wind and hail. And notice this weekend, the cold front moves through. This could bring some heavier moisture into the northeast potentially, as we have a low pressure winding up here near the Hudson Bay between Ontario and Quebec and Canada. And then we see that moisture off the northwest flow coming off the Rockies, providing that lift for the southern plains that would get some storms going. And that is going to be a theme heading through the week, is where we're going to be seeing just a parade of showers and thunderstorms on pretty much a daily basis from portions of the desert Southwest. You have the lift off the Rocky Mountains, off the Front Range. That will drop southeast through the southern plains and make attempts even at pushing east into the lower Mississippi Valley. And notice the heavy rainfall that is advertised here on the models. And you can see Colorado, New Mexico, southern Kansas, much of the Sooner State of Oklahoma, North Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, even at times Mississippi, Alabama getting some heavier rainfall. The bullseye by far, if you see it here, is Oklahoma City, Woodward over to Tulsa, Ardmore, Norman, all the way over here into Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Little Rock, Fayetteville. These areas could be seeing a widespread 3 to 6 inches of rain next week during that 5-day period, and hopefully it's spread out, right? We don't want all this rainfall in a short amount of time, but this is definitely some good news to see that it's been drier down there and it's getting some much needed moisture. So going into early September in your long-range forecast, yes, the cooler air does have staying power between September 1st and the 6th, and this will bring some cooler air again further south into the southern tier of the United States, although warming up across western Canada. Some of that heat will eventually spread east, and that could overspread parts of the upper Midwest, but just slightly above normal temperatures there in early September. Also trending wetter west of the Mississippi River into early September, drier to the east, especially the closer you get to the east coast during that first week. And you can see that on the models here again, favoring areas west of the Mississippi River, central, southern plains into the Rockies, especially where that moisture will be heaviest with a few more inches of rain. The eastern United States, we're going to be trending drier. In contrast, that was the European model. This is the GFS American guidance. And notice the difference in the two. It's a lot drier in the Rockies, drier in the plains, and wetter toward the Midwest and the eastern seaboard. Reason being is because we have a hurricane that the GFS wants to advertise here. Sometimes the GFS does these fantasy runs where it shows these hurricanes, but something to watch, right? If the tropics are active down here into the Gulf, that's going to push the storm track closer to Canada, which would align with the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley getting active again. But like the European model shows, doesn't really show much of a tropical system. So if that's not the case, then the moisture will be heavier and sticking around longer for the Rockies, the plains in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and the Northeast will be drier. So there's a lot of uncertainty here, and it all ties into the tropics. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as we go forward. Right now, what you're looking at is the tropical Atlantic, and we have a system developing here, really within any minute now. The National Hurricane Center will be dubbing that Fernand, because in the red, that is a 100% chance of a system developing, which means it will likely be named Fernand here in really any minute now, and this is moving up just east of Bermuda. And then the system yesterday that we were talking had a 50% chance of development. Well, it's becoming less and less likely as it approaches the southern Leeward Islands, because wind shear, and also it's just the MJO is not as favorable. So it has a 20% chance of development, but we'll keep an eye on it, that is for sure. And we are looking at the water content here, the temperatures. Aaron, that is now in the rearview mirror, so to speak, has definitely caused a lot of upwelling. A Category 4 hurricane will do that, and you can see a lot of blues here in the western Atlantic causing some upwelling, but the Caribbean and the Gulf are hot tubs right now, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Here's Fernand, that's likely to develop east of Bermuda as we go really any minute, any hour now. The National Hurricane Center should again name this Fernand. System has a low chance, but a chance nonetheless, 20% of developing over the next few days as it crosses the Leeward Islands into the Eastern Caribbean. Again, it's a 20% chance, no need to panic here, but if that does get named, it will be Gabrielle. And you can see the GFS ensemble, I agree with this, because it's not really showing a lot of members down here, and I don't think it's as favorable. It's very far south for one, and it's just not as favorable with the MJO moving away. Now, in the East Pacific, things are changing here as well. Where it was quiet, it's starting to get active. So our entire weather pattern across the globe, whether it's the tropics or even the mainland United States or Russia, wherever you may be watching me from, is changing here as we go into late August. And you can see here in the Pacific, 70% chance of development likely over the next 5 to 7 days. And this system has some warmer water to work with, right? It's right in that area where we have some warmer water in the brown and beige colors there. And that's a long time above the historical average. So that we're keeping an eye on that. There are some weaker members on here. Tropical storm, maybe low-end hurricane, which would be a Cat 1. GFS is bending this a little bit weaker, so it moves it further west. But again, no source to land will be impacting this area, so be keeping an eye on that. And before we go, let's look at the long-range tropical outlook. You can see as we go into the second week of September, Central American gyre is going to favor the East Pacific in getting active, and the main development region, we still have to watch those systems. Any system that really develops out there will kind of curve out to sea, maybe taking a run at the Leeward Islands. We'll be keeping an eye on that. But again, the tropical Atlantic is going to get a lot quieter going into the first half of September. So thank you for watching, folks. If you did find this video informative, helpful for you in any way, or life-saving, make sure to like the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Share with a friend, family member, and on social media. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Again, we do daily updates for Southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics on this channel. We'll have another update for you tomorrow. Like the video. Again, I already said all that. So comment in the comment section down below the video if you have any of those, and I'll see you all in the next video.